Hi, Year 9. Hope you're all safe and well. Week 3. I cannot believe it is week 3 already. So far we have looked at user groups, barriers, and today we're going to add on some solutions. So the barriers that we've already looked at in regards to our user groups for participation is employment and time, work restrictions and family commitments, disposable income, accessibility of facilities and equipment, lack of role models. So they're the 5 barriers that we've looked at already. Okay, we're going to look at a couple more today and then start to think about how we can reduce these barriers if we were to become some sort of sports officer or a coach or a teacher. How can we reduce these barriers for these particular user groups? So, number 6 then. Hopefully you've got your fact book in front of you or your notes from last lesson so that you can obviously carry on with these barriers. Provision of activities. So what is available? What can we provide? So limited activities. If there's only a limited number of activities, there's only going to be a limited number of people taking part. Meeting individual requirements, so childcare, ability groups, timings, language barriers. These are all things that could limit what we could provide or how people can get involved. If people haven't got childcare, if people aren't at the right ability groups, if timings aren't correct, if there are some language barriers, these are provisions that are going to stop people from taking part in physical activity. So all of the user groups are impacted. All of the user groups could have an issue in regards to something along the lines of provision. Barrier 7, awareness of activities and provision. So what is available? How do we get involved? Do people know about it? How is it advertised? Where can you sign up? If people don't know these things, or people aren't finding these things or looking out for these things, then how are they going to know how to take part? In school, we have a lot of leaflets in the performance zone of different clubs and activities you can get involved in. In leisure centres, there's usually boards of areas, timetables of things that you can get involved in. Social media is massive when it comes to making people aware of activities that are available. So again, all user groups are affected by this. All right. So this is another barrier to some of those user groups. Language of advertisements. Is it easy to read? Is it easy to follow? These are all the different things that come under this barrier. So awareness of activities and provisions. Portrayal of gender issues by the media. So mainly male sports on TV. There is mainly male presenters. Stereotypes of certain sports. These things have an impact on some of the user groups, especially related around children and teenagers. A lot of people may not necessarily as much now, but rugby's for boys, dances for girls. That isn't the case at all, but that is something that some children, some teenagers are brought to know and are brought up to see. This could be due to the media again. But the portrayal of gender issues by the media is a really, really, really hard barrier that hits children and teenagers. So there's a lot of football on the TV, a lot of male football on the TV, not quite as much as female. There is some netball, but there is a lot of male dominant sports that are portrayed on the TV. Cricket, golf. Yes, there is a little bit of female, but not as much as male. And this is having an impact on some of the user groups as to why they do not take part in physical activity. Because they just see it as either a male-dominated sport or a female-dominated sport. So, We have now completed all 8 barriers that you can now relate to all of those user groups. So, for the last time then, going back to this grid that we've been looking at over the last couple of weeks, you now need to fill that in, hopefully, with the barriers that I've written on the right hand side for you, you have already completed. But if you stop the video now, you can then add in the ones that you might have missed, or try and have a go yourself using those 8 barriers that we've looked at, and then come back to this PowerPoint slide and see which ones you have missed. So ethnic minorities, lack of role models and religious issues, retired people, people over 50, access for facilities and equipment. They might be too expensive if they're only now on a low income or a pension. Families with young children, lack of time due to looking after children, lack of money. Single parents, work restrictions, family commitments, lack of money. Children, lack of time due to school, part-time work, gender stereotypes, so like we've just talked about. Boys doing dance, girls doing rugby. People don't see or want to participate in those sort of sports. Teenagers, lack of time again due to school or part-time work, gender stereotypes. Disabled, limited activities, limited access, issues with transport. Unemployed, lack of disposable income, lack of motivation. Working singles and couples, lack of free time due to working long hours, lack of motivation or energy. There is a number of barriers. There are only some. There are more that can be added into each user group. Try and add as many as you can into your grid that we've been looking at, obviously, over the last 2 weeks. So, now we've looked at the barriers, we need to try and think of the solutions. So what can we do to help reduce these barriers? And the way you're going to remember it, the things that you need to remember, is PAP, P-A-P. So the provision, the access, and the promotion. These are the 3 main areas that are going to help to reduce those barriers. So provision, programming of sessions for use by different user groups. So sessions for wheelchair sports, sessions for teenagers, sessions for children, sessions for people over 50s. Providing appropriate activity options for the demands of the specific user groups. So there is no point putting in some sort of sporting activity that people aren't going to enjoy, people know nothing about. We need to be able to give them some sort of taster session so that they know what they're coming to and they know how the sport works, so that they can have a little go. Different age groups have different options available to them. So walking football for people over 50 and retired people. Tots football, so we're looking at young children where parents can get involved as well. Planning times to suit different user groups. So for parents with young children, mid-morning after the school run, like I said in one of the other sessions. Sessions where parents can do the activity, but there's a play area in the middle for the children so that the children can go along with them. So provision, programming of sessions, providing appropriate activity, and planning times to suit different user groups. Access. Access to facilities, so transport. Can we provide transport in rural areas? Ramps for wheelchairs and easy access to buildings. So ramps, stair handles, anything that's going to help people get access to different facilities. Access to equipment, so hoists into the swimming pool, balls with bells for the visually impaired. There's loads of different access equipment out there that you can use to make sure everybody can be involved. And sensible pricing and concessions, so reduction in charges for the unemployed or young children. Can we have buy one get one free offers? So you come for one session, you get one session free. If you come for one session and you bring a friend, you get a session free. Loads of different concessions that we can use to try and get more people involved in activity. Promotion. Targeted promotion, advertising in appropriate places in increased visibility to different user groups. Health centres, doctors, schools, grocery stores, shops, bus stops, loads of places where people can look at adverts and find out any particular information in relation to activity. Using role models to encourage participating appropriate to different user groups. So get some role models into schools. Let's go get someone from a local sports club to come into a school and do a talk about the activity to get people more involved, get people more aware of the activities that are out there. Initiatives aimed at promoting participation and inclusion for free swimming for under 16s and over 60s, free taster sessions, bring a friend, loads of initiatives to try and get people involved, give them a benefit, give them something to work towards. These are all ways that we can get more people involved in physical activity. So the 3: provision, access, promotion. PAP. That's how you're going to remember it. Solutions to barriers, provision, access, promotion. So, task for today then. This is a case study. So we've got one participant, they're age 75, they're female, they're a widow with grown-up children, and their lifestyle is retired, doesn't drive, they've had a hip replacement, and they're not very good with computers. So stop this PowerPoint now and write down the barriers and solutions which could be put in place for this individual. Off you go. Okay, hopefully the barriers that you came up with: access of facilities and equipment, transport, she's got no transport to get to anything, provision of activities, there's nothing on offer for her age or ability, or nothing that she is aware of, and awareness of activities, doesn't really know what is available for her. So the solutions we're going to put in place: provide appropriate opportunities for people over 60 in her area. Advertise over 60 activities. How can we advertise? Think of different ways that you could advertise for this person. Letters through the door, newspapers, village magazines. And access to facilities. Can we provide transport? Can we put a minibus on? Can we give bus times out to these people so that they are aware of how they can get there, what's available, and what activities and facilities and equipment are available to them. So the first bit is the barriers, the second is the solutions. Last task then for today. There is 3 different participants there, so participant 2, 3 and 4. For each case study, can you write down the barriers and solutions for each and then email me your answers? So my email address is there, dhibbett@johnfernley.org. So for each participant, you need to give the barriers and the solutions of how you're going to help them, how you're going to improve their activity levels and their availability and their ability to get involved in physical activity. If you could do that and send me that via email, that would be amazing. Now, I know I've just rushed through all that, so go back, listen to the PowerPoint again, write down any notes that you might have missed, and then complete these activities. If you are struggling in any way, please just email me and I will email you back and help. Thank you. See you next week. Bye-bye.